You're tuning in to the AHSAA 2A State Championship Softball Tournament brought to you by the NFHS Network. This is the championship game between the Hale County Lady Wildcats, coached by Lori Wyatt, and the Zion Chapel Lady Rebels, coached by Chelsea Jones. These teams met earlier today in the winner's bracket. Both these teams entered the day undefeated. It was Hale County who won against Zion Chapel, but Zion Chapel fought back to get here. Zion Chapel twice defeated the four-time 2A state champion, and this is their first time in the state tournament. They've made a run all the way to the championship game. For Hale County, one win means a state championship. For Zion Chapel, it would take two. Zion Chapel is going to be the home team. So we will see the Lady Wildcats stepping up to the plate to start things off. For Zion Chapel, on the mound, it is going to be Shelby Sorrells. She picked up the win in the last game, a game just prior to this one, to send Zion Chapel to the championship game. She'll be back on the mound and be facing Olivia McRae to get things started here in this championship game. First pitch misses outside. The catcher, Ruggs, unable to get over to it. For the Lady Wildcats, at the top of the order, Olivia McRae, Kayla Wyatt on deck, and Savannah Holmes in the hole. That pitch just does get that inside corner. A late call. It's a 1-1 count. One pitch is going to be down the third base line, gets passed out into the outfield, and that's going to be a single for Olivia McRae. Just did get past Dewberry at third, and the Lady Wildcats have a runner aboard, the lead-off hitter. So McRae is aboard. That'll bring up Kayla Wyatt. Wyatt, a special story. Got the nickname Popeye. Little in stature, but makes some big plays, including a big play yesterday. We'll get into that later on in the game, but certainly a player to keep an eye on. Wyatt pops that one up. It'll be off the fencing behind home plate, so no play to be made, but in an 0-2 hole. Again, a little outside, not able to work with it. Sorrells has already seen action earlier today. Of course, just picked up the win not long ago against the Lady Hornets. Wyatt just does get a piece of it. You can hear the Lady Wildcat fans up and at them early on. They haven't had any reason to cheer since their victory early this morning in the 10:30 game, so long time to store up the energy. They're certainly bringing it in this one. Nice job by Rugg of getting up and getting to that ball. Sorrells struggling with that command early on in this one. Able to hold McRae at first because of a nice grab by the catcher. That one's popped up. It looks like it's going to be in the infield. It is the second baseman, Ketchum, who comes over, makes the grab for the first out. McRae is held at first. So one away, that brings up Savannah Holmes. Holmes will be on the mound, but she's not only impressive on the mound, but also impressive at the plate. Entered the tournament hitting .427. Also very commanding on the mound. And get this, she's only an 8th grader. So plenty of time left in her high school career, but she's helped her team make it all the way to the championship game. There she goes, showing that impressive hitting. It'll move the runner over to second. A single up the middle by Savannah Holmes. So runners at first and second with one out. That brings Jay Jones to the plate. First pitch is just on that outside corner for a called strike. Jones, the cleanup hitter in the lineup. Got 2 on. Opportunity to do some damage early on in this game. That one's fouled off toward her own dugout. For Zion Chapel, they gave up 2 runs in the first inning of the game prior to this one against Hatton. Able to fight back, a couple of lead changes in that one, but able to hold on and get the victory. That's a swing and a miss, and that will send Jones to the dugout. So 2 outs now. So that will bring Charles E. Payne to the plate. First pitch to Payne, she pops it up. It's gonna be shallow outfield. It's the left fielder, Carter, coming over to make the play for the final out of the inning. So no damage done, no score here. We're heading to the bottom of the first inning. You're watching coverage of the AHSAA 2A Softball Championship on the NFHS Network. Back here for the AHSAA 2A Softball Championship on the NFHS Network. I'm Danielle Percival, joined by our crew of Tommy House as our stream producer and Mike Watkins on camera. Glad to have you joining us for this 2A Softball Championship here in Montgomery, Alabama at Lagoon Park. Got the Hale County Lady Wildcats and the Zion Chapel Lady Rebels. Here in the bottom of the first, the Lady Rebels get their first shot at the plate. It's Whitney Rugg leading things off. First pitch is in for strike 1. The Hale County cheering section still loud and proud on their feet. The 0-1 just does miss, evens the count at 1 ball, 1 strike. Pitch just on that outside corner. And it is a called strike, so a 1-2 count. Holmes facing Rugg at the plate. That pitch a little low. That'll even the count. Whitney Rugg, the catcher for the Lady Rebels. a pitch that just does clip the corner of the fencing there behind home plate. So a 2-2 count. Another pitch, that one just does land foul. No, it's fair, it's a fair ball. Well, Rugg acted like it was fair. It wasn't determined until she rounded first that she was gonna have to head back home. A nice effort of trying to run out the play. Instead, it's still a 2-2 count. Rugg just does get a little piece of it. Stays alive to fight for another pitch. The first baseman playing in. The rest of the infield still playing back. They come in a little. The pitcher, Holmes, has trouble getting to it, but pops it over to her first baseman and is able to make the play for the first out of the inning. So 1 away. That brings to the plate Billy Copeland. Copeland, the designated player for Zion Chapel. That pitch just a little inside, kind of skips in. Holmes trying to make quick work of the Lady Rebels here in the bottom of the first inning. Trying to hit that outside corner, doesn't get the favorable call, makes it a 2-1 count. The 2-1 delivery has popped up. Just does hit the top of the fencing behind home plate. Another foul ball. Well, for Hale County, they got into the tournament the hard way. A week ago, the Lady Wildcats won 3 straight elimination games to place second in the North Central Regional. Once they got to the tournament, they didn't want to worry about elimination games. They haven't lost a game yet. That pitch misses outside, making it a full count. For the payoff pitch, it's going to be a dribbler up to the shortstop. She'll pop it over to first in time to make the play. Nice effort by Wyatt coming up to make the grab on the grounder. And it's 2 up, 2 down. That'll bring Alex Ketchum to the plate. Mentioned Savannah Holmes, the 8th grader on the mound. How dominant she's been. It's the swing and a miss there. She entered the tournament with a 20-9 record on the mound with 2 saves and a .42 ERA, while also hitting .427. Not too bad for an 8th grader. She's certainly made her mark with the Wildcats. That pitch misses outside. 1-1 count. And Friday in game 1, she struck out 11. Game 2, she struck out 7. So yesterday, a total of 18 strikeouts. Quite a day for Holmes. Well, don't forget, purchase a copy of today's game as a DVD keepsake. Go to the NFHSnetwork.com, click on the green Get the DVD button directly under your event. go back and relive the memories. Catcher unable to hold on to it, but it is a called strike, the final out of the inning, so no score here as we head to the top of the second. You're watching coverage of the AHSAA 2A Softball Championship on the NFHS Network. Well, during the break, heard a little rendition of Happy Birthday. Looks like it might be Caroline Brown's birthday of the Zion Chapel Lady Rebels, as the Lady Rebs fans were serenading us. If so, what better way to spend your birthday than playing for the state championship? It's the Lady Wildcats taking their turn at bat the second time. That is a monster hit. No shot at it. She goes through the wall. It is a home run for Hale County. Harley Stokes got all of that one. And that was a monster hit. Looks like the left fielder Carter is all right. But man, she went tumbling through that wall. What a hit by Stokes. Quickly, we have a score in this game. It's 1-0. The Lady Rebels got 2 home runs just a game ago. Well, now they know what it's like to give up one. Sorrells had one of her own, just gave up the first run of the ball game, and Hale County has taken a 1-0 lead. Lauren Everett coming up to the plate. Will hold up on the field as they try and get the fence back together. Still leaning a little, but they got it to stand, so we're good to go as the umpires will run back to the field of play and we'll get things started again. Well, Hale County thought they were cheering loud earlier. Now they've got even more motivation, as it seems like momentum is on their side. Again, it's Everett at the plate. Sorrells really seeming to struggle with the command at this point. Seems to be tailing off to the right, toward her catcher's right. In this case, outside, as it was ball 1. Ruggs not able to get over to it, as again it was outside, well outside the batter's box. Sorrells trying to shake it off. She's heading into her 9th inning of work in just the last few hours. Able to put that one across the plate, however, and make it 2-1. We do have a pitcher out warming up here in the outfield. I'll get you a name and number on that momentarily. That's a swing and a miss. So I believe it is a 2-2 count. Still no outs. That is a swing and a miss, so a strikeout from Sorrells. Struggled early on in that at bat, but able to come back and get the strikeout for the first out of the inning. It appears that Billy Copeland, who is in the lineup as the designated player, is out warming up in the outfield. You may see her enter in relief of Sorrells at some point. First pitch in for a strike to Lexi Perry. Perry playing out in left field. The 0-1 pitch in about the knees. And it is a called strike, so an 0-2 count. That's going to be popped up and fouled back into the netting. So nobody on. One out here. And it is a 1-0 ball game as Harley Stokes went yard to start things off here in the top of the second. That's another one that's popped sky high. Coming up, the center fielder, looks like she might have lost it in the sun. Dewberry unable to come up and make a play on it. It ended up being in front of her. That is a tough play to make at this point in the day because the sun is setting directly behind home plate almost. And man, tough spot to be in. And so it ends up that the runner is aboard at first. So Brooke Perkins now at the plate in the ninth spot. That is popped out into left field. Perry will hold up at second with the throw into third. A little bit off the line, however, able to recover in time, hold the runners at first and second. But the Lady Wildcats trying to get a little something more going here in the top of the second inning. A nicely placed hit by Brooke Perkins down that third base line. No shot for anybody. And she's aboard with the single. So we'll head back to the top of the lineup as Olivia McRae will get her second at bat. She's 1 for 1. Got a single to lead things off, starting the game. She hits the first pitch that she sees. The left fielder, Carter, was running over, but the play wasn't made. It fell in foul territory. Carter having a busy afternoon here in this championship game over in left field. McRae with the swing and a miss, make it an 0-2 count. Two on with one out. Sorrells gets her to swing and miss again. That's the second strikeout that she has recorded this inning, third of the game. That'll bring up Kayla Wyatt. Kayla Wyatt hit a home run with 2 outs and 2 runners on in the top of the 6th yesterday against Goshen when her team had a 1-0 lead. It was her first career home run and said the best part about it was rounding third and coming home to Mom. Mom is her coach, the head coach of the Hale County Lady Wildcats. Mom said she didn't know whether the moment was more of being a coach or being a mom. She was especially proud of Kayla with that at bat and delivering in that appearance. That's going to be the final out of the inning. Dewberry able to run over, make the grab by third for the final out. So it's a 1-0 lead. We'll head to the bottom of the second. You're watching the AHSAA 2A Softball Championships on the NFHS Network. Heading back for the bottom of the second. Glad to have you joining us here on the NFHS Network. You're watching coverage of the AHSAA 2A Softball Championship. Go to nfhsnetwork.com/AHSAA to watch live coverage, game replays, and highlights of all the AHSAA Softball Championship action. Right now we've got the 2A softball championship. There's 4A and 6A also going on right now out here at Lagoon Park in Montgomery, Alabama. Getting things started for the Lady Rebels. It'll be Shelby Sorrells, the pitcher for the Lady Rebs. Holmes pitching for the Lady Wildcats. Had 18 strikeouts yesterday, has one already through the first inning of work here in this game. The 0-1 pitch. In for strike two. The 0-2 fouled back. Lands right in front of the Lady Rebels dugout. The sun really starting to become an issue for these center fielders, these outfielders. You can see from back behind, the center fielder really struggling to see the plate, trying to block the sun with her glove. That's going to be popped to the pitcher. She'll send it over to first, and Sorrells is retired. Nice play by Holmes, getting the glove up in time. That'll bring up Ivy Sanders to the plate. Sanders pops out the first pitch that she sees. It gets out of the ballpark, and it'll be an 0-1 count. So no base runners yet for the Lady Rebels. No hits so far. We're just now in the bottom of the second inning here in this state championship final. That pitch from Holmes gets away from the catcher. That'll be a ball. She smacks that one to the second baseman, gets it over to first in time. McRae makes the play, and quickly 2 away for the Lady Rebels. So 4-3 on the play. And taking a look for the Lady Rebels, looks like now they have out in the outfield Kinley Parker warming up in case she's needed to come in relief of Sorrells. It's Faith Dewberry who is at the plate right now, third baseman for Zion Chapel. That pitch skips in about her ankles. So ball one. That one is popped up. It looks like it's going to be in the outfield. It is the right fielder running over to make the play. I believe that is Brooke Perkins, who comes over, makes the grab for the final out. So a 1-0 lead for the Lady Wildcats. We'll be back here watching the AHSAA 2A Softball Championship on the NFHS Network. And back here to start off the third inning. Got the Lady Wildcats coming to the plate. And it'll be Savannah Holmes looking to help her cause. Sorrell's pitch is high and outside for ball one. We'll never miss another game. Become a subscriber to the NFHS Network to watch live event coverage, game replays, and highlights of high school sports from across the country. Millions of athletes, thousands of games, one destination, the NFHS Network. We are high school. Holmes is patient, holds off on the pitch. It is a 2-0 count. That pitch just does miss. Sorrells came close to painting the black on that one, but it's 3-0 to Holmes with Jones on deck. And that will be a 4-pitch walk to Savannah Holmes. Holmes a solid hitter, so while it didn't look intentional, might have been in the plan to try and take away the hot bat. That brings up Jay Jones, 0 for 1 so far. Let's pop back to the pitcher. It's going to be the third baseman who comes over to make the play. Nice 5-3 play to get the out. And they'll come back and be able to get Savannah Holmes, who didn't have the best base running on that one. They get the out at second. And quickly after the walk, and it looked like the Lady Wildcats might have something brewing. Well, 2 batters, 2 outs. That brings up Charles E. Payne. First pitch is in for strike 1. The 0-1 to Payne. Just a little off, a little outside. Evens the count. The sun starting to create a few shadows as it's coming across home plate. That pitch skips in, so a 2-1 count. You can see the shadows from the lights casting across the field as the sun is setting behind the press box, which is directly behind home plate. That's popped to the second baseman. Easy 4-3 play for the final out. So nothing doing here in the top of the third. We'll head to the bottom of the third with a 1-0 ball game. You're watching the AHSAA 2A Softball Championships on the NFHS Network. Coming up to the plate for the Lady Rebels to start things off here in the bottom of the third inning, your birthday girl, Caroline Brown. Brown easy to spot with her neon helmet. They always want the birthday girl to stand out. It'll be the bottom third of the order for the Lady Rebels. Caroline Brown, Morgan Carter, and Haley Dewberry. Swings at the first pitch she sees, and the pitcher Holmes runs over, grabs it, tags her for the out. 1 pitch, 1 out. That'll bring up Morgan Carter. You can start to tell that the sun setting is really starting to affect both the infield and the outfield as the middle infielders continue to pull their gloves up, try and shade the sun, as well as the outfielders. Holmes with the 1-0 pitch. And gets it on that outside corner. Still a loud and rowdy crowd. Wouldn't want anything less for a championship atmosphere. First pitch fouled back. Comes back in the park. off the fencing. It's Carter at the plate with Haley Dewberry on deck. And it'll be back to the top of the lineup. Carter swings at another one. That one will get out of play back behind her home team dugout. So 1-2 now for Carter. That one's toward the shortstop. She'll pump it over to first. That's Wyatt to Jones for the second out of the inning. Quick work here so far in all 3 innings for Savannah Holmes. First 2, it was 3 up, 3 down, looking like she's well on her way to doing that for the 3rd time. That pitch gets away from the catcher Payne. Wind not quite as strong as it's been throughout the day. Still a good breeze. Another one that Holmes seems to kind of lose track of is the catcher Payne had no shot at it, and it's a 2-0 count. Another one outside. It's a 3-0 count. And Holmes in danger of losing her first batter. She's gotten the last 8 outs consecutive to start this game. It's a swing and a miss, as Dewberry helps her out a little bit, chasing after that one. She just does get the corner, so now it is, believe it's a full count. It may just be 3-1, little miscommunication going on. That pitch is in the dirt, skips into first, skips into home, so it doesn't matter, as the runner will advance on the wall. So Haley Dewberry takes her free base. It's the first runner that the Lady Rebels have been able to put on base. We'll be back to the top of the lineup, as it is Whitney Rugg stepping into the batter's box. Rugg, a lefty at the plate. The Lady Wildcat fans still on their feet. That's popped up. It's going to be in the shallow infield, and it will be the shortstop, Wyatt, who runs over to make the grab for the final out. So the walk doesn't come back to haunt them. Still a 1-0 game as we head to the bottom of the 3rd inning. You're watching the AHSAA 2A Softball Championships on the NFHS Network. You're watching coverage of the AHSAA 2A Softball Championship on the NFHS Network. Go to nfhsnetwork.com/AHSAA to watch live coverage, game replays, and highlights of all the AHSAA Softball Championship action. Of course, this is the championship game, and right now, Hale County holding on to a 1-0 lead thanks to Harley Stokes. She is at the plate. Got herself a solo home run out to left field back in the 2nd inning. 1 for 1, and looking to do a little more damage. hits the first pitch she sees. It's another one that's going to dribble out into left field. Not quite as far, but still effective. Gets her on base. So goes after the first pitch, and it pays off. Single for Stokes, make her 2 for 2. That'll bring up Lauren Averett. The sun now causing shadows to come just about to the pitcher's mound. As those shadows will continue to creep. They're going to throw over to second, try and get the runner. She will be able to slide in under the tag. It was a nice effort by the catcher, Ruggs, to get it over to Brown to try and apply the tag. Not quite in time. And Stokes really just having a day with the home run, a single, a stolen base. We'll see what else we can put on our tab a little bit later on. Averett shows bunt. Ruggs came up as if she was going to throw back. Held on to it, however. Forced the center fielder Dewberry to run in, trying to cover second, as the shortstop Brown playing far over with the corners playing in, protecting against the bunt. They'll try and catch the runner. They'll end up getting her in a rundown. They'll try and tag her out. Still a rundown. I'm not even going to try and call this one. She gets back in safe at second. We can't go through all those numbers. I can't tell you who all had that, but back and forth, and it turns out Stokes got the better of it. We'll put that on our tab too. So aggressive base running by Stokes, trying to take third on the play, ending up caught in a rundown, but hey, she got the better of it. So Averett, still the one at the plate, and still no outs here in the top of the fourth. Again, showing bunt, so the infield runs in. Again, not able to get it off in fair territory. So Stokes at second, Averett at the plate, no outs. Corners still playing in. That's a swing and a miss. The ball does get away from Ruggs, and they are not able to get to Stokes at third. They will, on the throw, have the strikeout for Averett, but the runner does advance, so Averett with the first out of the inning as the sacrifice gets Stokes over to third base. So runner in scoring position. If Stokes were to score, she would be responsible for both runs that the Lady Wildcats have been able to put up so far. Of course, right now it's a 1-0 game. And coming up to the plate is Lexi Perry. The windup and the pitch from Sorrell. She throws bunt as well. Dewberry looks to third, and she's not going to have a play in the field. Both runners will be safe. That's Stokes at third. Perry is able to reach first on the bunt. That puts runners at the corners with Brooke Perkins stepping up. Still only one out here in the top of the fourth as the Lady Wildcats looking to try and extend their lead. Smart heads up play by Dewberry, trying to get that out at third, but by the time she Was able to establish that wasn't going to happen. Not able to make it happen. On the play, Perry will advance to second. So 2 runners in scoring position now for Hale County. Perkins at the plate. Sorrells, that pitch is inside. Ruggs pops up, challenging Stokes to try and come home. There's nowhere to go. So the runners stay put at second and third. It is a 1-1 count. Again, Ruggs popping up, trying to make a play. Nowhere to go but home, and it's a risky play to try to squeeze. As it is, first and third are playing in. That's Sanders and Dewberry with Ketchum and Brown kind of playing in between first and second and third. That is to the shortstop Brown, who is unable to make the grab, kind of skipped off her glove, an awkward hop, and on it the run scores. So Stokes scores her second run of the game, make it a 2-0 ball game, and the Hale County Lady Wildcats looking to try and remain undefeated and take the state championship in this ball game. It is just the top of the 4th inning, but we are almost halfway through this state championship matchup. So runners at first and second. It's Olivia McRae at the plate. We're back to the top of the lineup. That ball foul off the fence behind home plate. Sorrells with the delivery. That's going to be low and in the dirt. Gets past Ruggs. So both runners will advance. They are both in scoring position now. And we still only have 1 out in the inning. The situation, the infield remains the same, remains in. That pitch is in for a ball. You can hear those Hale County Lady Wildcat fans. Lots of energy. That is just foul. It was close to the line. Almost looked like it might be a souvenir for some of those Wildcat fans. McRae is 1 for 2 in this ball game. And that is fair. It gets past the third baseman, rolls out into left field. They're going to send both runs around to score. No play at the plate. And all of a sudden, the Lady Wildcats have busted open, and it is a 4-0 game. With how close and tight these innings have been, that seems like quite a lead here in this state championship game. Still just 1 out here in the inning. McRae with her second hit of the game. On it, she gets to second. The 2 RBI hit for McRae, and that brings up Kayla Wyatt, otherwise known as Popeye. The pitch from Sorrells is high and outside for ball 1. The 1-0 delivery again outside, so 2-0. Sorrells falling behind in the count. Trying to paint the black, gets that outside corner and gets the call, so 2-1. There's a runner at second. To remind you, it's Olivia McRae. The pitch is outside, so it is a 3-1 count. Well, today's game is also available for all subscribers on your Apple or Android smartphone through the new NFHS app. Go to the iTunes or Google Play Store to download the app for free today. You can also view live games and replays on the mobile website. Make sure you check it out today. That's popped up. It's right to the second baseman, who loses it in the sun. And on the play, McRae will advance to third. Runners at the corners looked like a routine play for Ketchum. But with the way the sun is in this part of the day, it is a tough play to make out at second. The shadow's right there at her feet. Certainly a tough break there for the Lady Rebels. But the Lady Wildcats have the opportunity to try and extend their lead. Lady Wildcats proving why they're in this state championship game, coming out with a dominant performance so far. Wyatt will trot on over to second, make it runners at second and third. It is Savannah Holmes at the plate. Holmes was walked the last time she appeared at the plate. Officially 1 for 1. She knocks that one past the pitcher. Try and get it over to first in time. Holmes is going to be safe, beat the throw. So ducks on the pond. It's bases loaded with Jay Jones coming up to the plate. Doesn't have a hit yet today, but not a more opportune time to mark down that first one. You can hear the chant of defense by the Lady Rebels crowd. While they're competing with the Let's Go Jay chant by the Wildcats. A swing and a miss for the strike. Sorrells trying to get out of the inning. Bases loaded. This is the 8th batter she's faced this inning. 3 runs already across the plate. That pitch is high. So it is a 2-1 count. Another pitch that is low and outside to J.C. Jones. It's 3-1. Hitters count with the bases loaded. Only one out in the inning. That's going to be popped up. It's over. And the right fielder unable to make the play. 1 run comes around. 2 runs are going to come around. They're going to wave and stop Savannah Holmes. Put 2 runs on the board, make it a 6-0 ball game here in the top of the 4th inning, folks. The Wildcats have come to play. 5 runs in this inning alone, 6 in the game, and we're just now hitting the halfway point. They still have 2 runners on at the corners, and it's now Charles E. Payne coming up to the plate. We'll have a meeting on the mound as the coach will come out to talk things over with Sorrells. We'll see if they are going to make a change at this point. It doesn't seem that they'll be making the change just yet, but we did mention earlier that 2 different people had been warming up for the Lady Rebels. Neither have been out warming up as of late, as we will see the coach head back to the dugout. So it looks like they will stick with Sorrells, trying to get a little encouragement from her teammates. Tell her to keep her head up. It's a 6-0 ball game, and the Lady Wildcats still aggressive, still trying to tack a few more on before they're done with this inning. It's Charles E. Payne coming up to the plate. Harley Stokes is on deck. She led things off here in this inning. So the Lady Wildcats have almost batted around. The sun really causing some problems, especially left side of the field, as those shadows are now past the second baseman. However, not quite far enough to put her entirely in shadows. And these outfielders still have a while to go fighting this sun. Shows bunt. However, no play to be made, as J.C. Jones will trot on over to second to put 2 runners in scoring position. Charles E. Payne knocks one down the third base line, wave the runners home. Both are going to come, and there will be a ground rule double as the ball got past the outside part of the makeshift wall that has been established here. And so a ground rule double for Charles E. Payne. Both runners come around to score. It is now an 8-0 ball game here in the top of the 4th. No confirmation yet as to a run rule or if a run rule would apply here in a championship game. They'll have a pinch runner come in for Charles E. Payne. So we're back to Harley Stokes. She got things started, looking to go at it once again. So it is an 8-0 ball game. 7 of those runs have come in this inning alone. The Wildcats have batted around, and it's Stokes at the plate to start all over. just does pick up a piece of it. Fouls it back behind home plate. Sorrell struggling, pitches high and outside to Stokes. Still no one out warming up for the Lady Rebels. We'll keep you advised of that situation. That one is popped up. It's going to be out in the outfield, but the left fielder, Carter, able to come over and make the play. And if you can believe it, it's only the second out of the inning. We've still got to get one more here in the top of the fourth. Been going on for quite a while. Seems to always happen when you got a speedy game going on. Something happens. Almost a broadcaster's curse. But it's been an exciting one here. You wouldn't want anything less for a softball championship, state championship game. It's Lauren Averett at the plate. Was the first out of the inning. Coming up here with the chance of "Let's Go Lauren" by the Wildcat faithful. Another pitch outside by Sorrells. Gets the call on that outside corner for the strike. You'll never miss another game. Become a subscriber to the NFHS network to watch live event coverage, game replays, and highlights of high school sports from across the country. That is popped up to the shortstop. Caroline Brown makes the play. Birthday girl getting it done. And we will head to the bottom of the fourth, not before a 7-run inning by the Lady Wildcats. They lead 8-0, and you're watching the AHSAA 2A Softball Championships on the NFHS network. We head to the bottom of the fourth inning. The Lady Rebels looking to try and cut into this lead, try and get something done. Through the first three, well, the only base runner they've had was courtesy of a walk. So no hits yet for the Lady Rebels. Billy Copeland looking to start things off. The pitch from Savannah Holmes bounces into home plate for ball one. The second baseman now appears to be completely in the shadows, something we're trying to keep an eye on because of the interesting setup here with the sun setting over the press box right over home plate. And the pitch is in, just misses on that outside corner. Pitch just a little high, so it's a 2-1 count. First base playing a little in. That's smacked right to the shortstop. Great play by Wyatt, making mom proud out there at shortstop. Nice grab for the first out of the inning. Fans giving a nice little chance. She's in 8th grade. Quite a play for the 8th grader. The 8th grade class seems to be a pretty good one for Hale County between Wyatt and Holmes on the mound. got a promising future, got a promising present. Holmes continuing good work here against Alex Ketchum. Got a 1-1 count with one away here in the bottom of the fourth. That one is smacked to the second baseman. Takes a weird hop, unable to get a hold of it, and she will be safe at first. So Ketchum aboard. I'm not sure if they'll credit it an error or not, but it is the second base runner that the Lady Rebels have gotten on the base paths today in this game. It'll be Shelby Sorrells, the pitcher, coming up to the plate. As you can hear the wind picking back up. That one fouled back. 0-1. Right now the pitcher right there in the cusp of those shadows. That one's popped up. The second baseman will get another shot at it. They'll try to go to first for the out, and they'll get both of them. The Lady Wildcats take care of business here in the bottom of the fourth inning. We'll head to the top of the fifth. It is 8-0. You're watching the AHSAA 2A Softball Championship on the NFHS Network. Well, the Lady Wildcats were out here for quite a while in the top of the fourth. And now we'll head to the top of the fifth. It is an 8-0 lead for the Lady Wildcats. Looking to take care of business here in this first game of the state championship. Of course, if Zion Chapel wins this game, we'll have to have one more to decide it between the two of them. Right now, the Lady Wildcats taking control of this one, as it is Lexi Perry who is at the plate. The pitch from Sorrells just does grab that corner. So it's a 1-1 count. Lady Wildcats pretty confident in the dugout. That one back toward the dugout. We're looking at the 8-9-1 hitters coming up to the plate here. It's Lexi Perry, Brooke Perkins, and Olivia McRae. The curve comes back and is the strike. So that's a strikeout. So one down here in the top of the fifth. That'll bring up Brooke Perkins. Pitch a little low from Sorrell, so ball one. As the lights have come on out here at the Lagoon Park Softball Complex. That pitch is sailing out to left field. Carter comes up, makes the grab. Nice play, and there are two away. We'll bring up Olivia McRae. McRae is 2 for 3 today with 2 RBIs. Those came back in the fourth inning. Part of a 7-run fourth inning by the Lady Wildcats. First pitch is in for ball one. Still no sign that the Lady Rebels are looking to replace Sorrells on the mound. Nobody out warming up for them. It appears they'll be sticking with Sorrells, as McRae just does get a piece of it, tips it back, 1-1. That pitch high and outside, 2-1 count. The shadows now spilling across out into the outfield, almost to the back fence, covering up most of the first base side. Now, when chopped down the first base line, it'll be an easy 4-3 play, and that'll end the inning. So, unlike the fourth, a quick top of the fifth. We'll head to the bottom of the fifth. It's an 8-0 ball game. You're watching coverage of the AHSAA 2A Softball Championships on the NFHS Network. Well, here in the home half of the fifth, Lady Rebels trying to get something, anything going against the Lady Wildcats. It's Zion Chapel in Hale County, and right now it's all Hale County. 8-0 for the Lady Wildcats. Stepping up to the plate is Ivy Sanders. Sanders takes the first pitch for strike one. Sanders was going for it, held up, able to hold up in time. It's a 1-1 count. It's Sanders at the plate, Faith Dewberry on deck, Caroline Brown in the hole. We're looking at the 5, 6, 7 hitters. That pitch is outside by Holmes, so a 2-1 count. Delivery a little low, so a hitter's count at 3-1. Sanders at the plate, the delivery from Holmes, a swing and a miss. I'll run it to a full count. We'll wait to see what the payoff pitch holds. Holmes has been making quick work of the Lady Rebels. In only one inning did she face more than 3 batters, and that was only 4 back in the 3rd inning. Sanders will get the first hit of the ball game for the Lady Rebels. Starting things off here in the bottom half of the 5th. She'll have a single up the middle. And finally something going for the Lady Rebels. So it's Faith Dewberry coming up to the plate. Dewberry has to duck out of the way, a little high and inside on that first pitch for ball 1. Well, to purchase a DVD keepsake copy of today's event, go to nfhsnetwork.com, click on the green Get the DVD button directly under your event. Make sure you preserve those memories so you can go back and watch it whenever you want. Holmes able to get that one in for strike 1. So a 1-1 count to Dewberry. It's Sanders on first. And Dewberry to the shortstop. They'll try to turn the double play, not in time. They'll get the lead runner, so Sanders is out on the force out. Fielder's choice. Wyatt tosses to McRae, tries to get it over to Jones, not in time, but the first out is recorded. It's Caroline Brown at the plate, takes strike one. One's popped up. It'll be foul out into the stands of the Lady Rebels fans. Oh, make it a 0-2 count. That pitch low and inside. Dewberry able to get back, throw not clean on the line. Jones unable to scoop it up out of the dirt, try to make the play. Again, one out here in the bottom of the fifth inning. Dewberry on first with Brown at the plate. That one's popped up. A tough play over at first, but Jones is able to make the grab. So that's the second out of the inning. That'll move us down in the lineup to Morgan Carter in the 8th spot. A leadoff hit by Ivy Sanders got things started for the Lady Rebels. And a fielder's choice by Faith Dewberry. One's popped up. It'll be out of play. The catcher might have been able to make a play on it. Wasn't able to establish where the ball was. So 2 outs. It is an 8-0 ball game. The Lady Wildcats hopping all over the Lady Rebels back in the top of the 4th inning, putting 7 runs across the plate. It was a relatively close game up until then. The Lady Rebels looking to get something going. They'll go for the easy out at first, and they'll get it. So we will head to the 6th inning with an 8-0 score. You're watching the AHSAA 2A Softball Championship on the NFHS Network. Never miss another game. Become a subscriber to the NFHS Network to watch live event coverage, game replays, and highlights of high school sports from across the country. Millions of athletes, thousands of games, one destination, the NFHS Network. We are high school. NFHSnetwork.com. Here in the top half of the 6th inning, Kayla Wyatt stepping up to the plate. First pitch from Sorrells gets in on that outside corner for strike one. Sorrells, despite struggling a little bit earlier on, has come back to establish herself, prove that she should stay in the game. 0-1 pitch is outside, evens the count. Another pitch outside, a 2-1 count now. When Sorrells misses, it's almost the exact same spot on that outside corner. That one's gonna be popped. It's gonna get past the shortstop Brown, roll out towards center field, where Dewberry will toss it in, but credited as a single for Kayla Wyatt. That'll bring up Savannah Holmes. Back-to-back 8th graders, back-to-back superstars in the making for the Lady Wildcats. Savannah Holmes pops up the first pitch she sees. It's back behind the plate toward the press box. Savannah Holmes in the third spot in the lineup. JC Jones on deck, the cleanup hitter. Ruggs pops up, looking to try and make a play at first. Wisely holds on to the ball. It's an 0-2 count to Holmes. The pitch is high, though. Will toss over to first this time, but Wyatt is back in time. So a 1-2 count now to the opposing pitcher. That pitch skips in. Ruggs thought about going to first, but Wyatt didn't show any threat of trying to run. So a 2-2 count now. That one's popped up. It's going to be in shallow center. Running in to make the play is Dewberry. A nice job of playing the ball with the wind and the sun to her disadvantage. And that is the first out of the inning. It's JC Jones at the plate now. She pops the first pitch that she sees. A nice diving try. She makes the grab. Nice effort by Ketchum coming over the second baseman. Nice diving play to get the second out and hold Wyatt at first. We'll bring up Charles E. Payne. Payne had a 2 RBI double back in the top of the fourth inning. 1 for 3 today. That pitch is outside. Wyatt holds at first. 1-0 count to Payne. The pitch is also to the second baseman. Nice 4-3 play, and that's the final out of the inning. So after a leadoff single, no damage done, it's still an 8-0 ball game with the Lady Wildcats out in front. You're watching the AHSAA 2A Softball Championship on the NFHS Network. Getting ready to start the bottom of the 6th inning. You're watching coverage of the AHSAA 2A Softball Championship on the NFHS Network. Go to NFHSnetwork.com/AHSAA to watch live coverage, game replays, and highlights of all the AHSAA Softball Championship action. The Lady Rebels getting ready to try and start things back up here in the bottom of the 6th. Got their first hit of the game back in the 5th. Unable to do anything further, however, as once again, Savannah Holmes holds them to 4 batters or less in the inning. She has been efficient on the mound tonight. The 1-0 pitch will be ball 2. A little low and outside. It's Haley Dewberry at the plate. Dewberry out in center field for the Lady Rebels. That one just does get a piece of it, make it a 2-1 count. The majority of the field is in the sunlight now, but since it is just after 7 o'clock Central Time, that sunlight is not quite as powerful. That pitch he just does miss, so it's a 3-1 count. So while the entire field is pretty much in the sunlight, it's not as bad as it was earlier. The 3-1, that's going to be a chopper to the second baseman. Easy 4-3 play for the first out. So Dewberry is retired. We'll get back to the top of the lineup with Whitney Rugg coming up to the plate. Rugg behind the plate. He's been seeing a lot of action trying to jump out and get those outside pitches. He's done a great job behind the plate. His first pitch he sees from Holmes is outside for ball 1. And pitch inside around the knees. It is strike 1, evening the count. Swing and a miss. It looked like the pitch was a bit low, but it is a 1-2 count now for Whitney Rugg. That pitch skipped in, also a little inside, evens up the count. Holmes getting a little encouragement from her fellow classmate, Wyatt. The pitch was outside for ball 3, so it is a full count now. Fouls off that pitch. We'll wait to see another one. The payoff pitch from Holmes. It'll be popped up and out of play. One more time. Talked about the youth of both Wyatt and Holmes. Well, it's a young squad for the Hale County Lady Wildcats. Only one senior on the team, so success maybe in their future for a while. That's out there, and speaking of Wyatt, she'll make the play for the second out of the inning. I'll bring up Billy Copeland. The fact that those Hale County players may be together for a while might breed success. It certainly worked for Zion Chapel. That's going to be over to the shortstop, and it'll be a 6-3, and we are out of the inning. We will head to the final inning here. You're watching the AHSAA 2A Softball Championships on the NFHS Network. Coming down to the final inning here at the AHSAA 2A Softball Championship presented on the NFHS Network. Right now it is all Lady Wildcats, and they'll be up to bat first here in the top of the 7th with an 8-0 lead. The Lady Rebels fighting to stay alive, trying to keep any more damage from coming off the bat. Give themselves an opportunity in the bottom half of the inning. Coming up first for the Lady Wildcats will be Charlesy Payne. That's going to be a hit. It's going to get past the second baseman, and that is going to be a base hit. So, pardon me, that's a base hit for Harley Stokes. She gets things started for the Lady Wildcats. I'll have you remember, back in the top of the fourth inning, she got things started off. Well, the top of the fourth went on for quite a while. 7 runs total for the Lady Wildcats. You can hear the crowd getting behind them as they may try and pull away even more. Ruggs will throw over to first. Stokes is back in time. So it's Averett at the plate. That's a grounder to shortstop. They'll try and make the play at second. Stokes will be out. The runner will be safe at first. So Averett reaches as the shortstop Brown goes to second, gets the lead runner. Averett is aboard at first. There is 1 out on the board now. So it's Lexi Perry who is scheduled to come up. They will be having a pinch hitter come in. If we can get that number, we'll get the identification to you. Making sure everybody's on the same page. Sorrells with the first pitch. Thought about going for it. Holds up on the swing. It's a strike. A toss over to first, but the runner is back in time. So Averett's still aboard at first. Still only 1 out in the inning. Pitch just does miss a little high. That'll even up the count. It is Hannah Harbin who is at the plate. And she'll knock that one is in the infield. They'll opt to go to first. There is Ketchum throwing over to Sanders on the plate. It will be a sacrifice, and Averett will advance to second. So Harbin is out, and that'll bring up Brooke Perkins. You can hear the enthusiasm coming from the Hale County dugout. With an 8-0 lead, and a runner in scoring position here in the final inning. Just gets a piece of it, knocks it back into the fence for strike 1. That one's going to be, it looked like it was going back to the pitcher. They will say that they got the out. It was a close play over at first. Well, that means the Lady Wildcats are likely done at the plate. We'll head to the bottom of the 7th inning. Last chance for the Lady Rebels here in the state championship game. You're watching the AHSAA 2A Softball Championship on the NFHS Network. Last chance here for the Lady Rebels. It's the home half of the 7th inning. You're watching coverage of the AHSAA 2A Softball Championship on the NFHS Network. Go to nfhsnetwork.com/AHSAA to watch live coverage, game replays, and highlights of all the AHSAA Softball Championship action. We've got 2A here. We've also got 4A and 6A going on here at Lagoon Park in Montgomery, Alabama. Looks like there may be some exciting finishes in a couple of the other ball games as well. So when we're finished, might want to go on over and tune in. First up here for the Lady Rebels is Alex Ketchum. Ketchum, the second baseman, saw a lot of action in the top half of the inning, looking to try and create some here in the bottom half. That's a pop-up. It's going to be right back to the pitcher. She'll throw over, and a quick, easy out for the Lady Wildcats. The Lady Rebels down to their final two. It'll be Shelby Sorrells, pitcher for the Lady Rebels, trying to help extend this game for her team. Coming down to some last chances, hopes, and prayers as that pitch skips in by her ankles and gets away from the catcher. No damage done with no one on base. It is ball one. Sun has just about completely set behind the trees in the distance. Pitch got that outside corner, evening the count at a ball and a strike. Sorrells just barely gets a piece of it, make it a 1-2 count. Lady Rebels down to their final two outs here in this 2A softball championship. No bigger stage than this one right here. Goes for it, the catcher Payne has a tough time getting to it. And on the play, Sorrells will reach first as the catcher Payne was unable to get the throw there cleanly to the first baseman Jones. So Sorrells, on what would have been a strikeout had the play been made, is instead aboard at first with only one out. There's still a spark of life left for the Lady Rebels. It's Ivy Sanders coming up to the plate. Again, an 8-0 ball game with the Hale County Lady Wildcats in control here, with the Zion Chapel Lady Rebels fighting to stay alive. Hale County has been undefeated, and with a win right here, they're 2 outs away from it, will be the state champions in Class 2A. Trying to clear everything up on the field as the umpire will come back and get set behind home plate, and we will resume play. It's Ivy Sanders at the plate, waiting for the first pitch, goes after it, fouls it off. 0-1. Again, Sorrells is at first. Only the 4th base runner that Holmes has allowed. One was a walk, one was a fielder's choice. That pitch is going to get away from the catcher. Holmes missed on that outside corner, and so Sorrells will take second. Sorrells now in scoring position. They have put in a pinch runner for Sorrells, as it is number 7 for the Lady Hornets, Ivy Amlong. And that pitch is in on the outside corner for a strike. So a 1-2 count now with Amlong on second, running for the pitcher, Sorrells. Again, trying to work that outside corner, doesn't quite get it, evens up the count, 2 apiece. Everybody on their feet as we are in the final moments of this game. A swing and a miss, and Holmes has a strikeout. And the Lady Rebels come down to the final out. Right now, all the pressure's on Faith Dewberry. A tough spot to be in. Trying to keep hope alive for your team. Down 8-0 in this final inning. First pitch is low and away for ball one. That is ripped out into right field. Dewberry will be across in time. That puts runners at the corners. So give her a hit. Dewberry on first with the pinch runner for Sorrells on third. So 2 outs, and up to bat the birthday girl, Caroline Brown. Brown watches the first pitch, and it's in on that outside corner for strike one. Brown hits it right back to the pitcher. Holmes has the chance, and with that play, the Hale County Lady Wildcats have taken the 2A softball state championship in the AHSAA. The Hale County Lady Wildcats had a tough time facing 3 elimination games in their regional just to make it to the state tournament. Once they got here, didn't lose a single game, tried to make it easy on themselves, and that they did with an 8-0 victory over Zion Chapel and the Lady Rebels. The Lady Rebels certainly had a tough road as they defeated the 4-time state champion Hatton Lady Hornets twice during this state tournament just to make it into the championship game. It was their first appearance in the state championship tournament, and so what a fantastic job by the Lady Rebels making it this far into the tournament and coming in as the runners-up. But it is the Lake County Lady Wildcats, Hale County Lady Wildcats, who have won the 2A state championship. We will stay tuned and we will have you the awards ceremony and presentation. So stay tuned, keep watching, and thanks so much for joining us. For our producer, Tommy House, and our cameraman, Mike Watkins, I'm Danielle Percival. Congratulations to the Hale County Lady Wildcats.
Softball fans, direct your attention to the field for the awards presentation for Class 2A. The awards will be presented by Steve Savarese, Executive Director of the